Hi everyone, my name is Melody and I'm part of the education team at Conserve Wildlife Foundation of New Jersey. So today I just wanted to share a fun activity that you guys can do at home, kids and parents alike can do at home, having to do with animal adaptations. So before I explain the activity, I want to talk a little bit about what adaptations are. So an adaptation is anything that an animal has or anything an animal does to help it survive in its environment. So I'll go through some examples just to give you guys an idea of what I am talking about here. So first, we have this is a model of a bald eagle skull. And we can see it has this really big, long, sharp beak, right? Really hooked. So this is an adaptation that our bald eagles have that help them to rip apart the meat of any animals that they might be eating, the main one being fish. So, and then another thing we can see on this skull is how large the eyes of the bald eagle are. And that is a really great adaptation for them as well. They have really great eyesight, about 8 times better than a human's eyesight. And that helps them when they are flying high over the water, trying to hunt for their fish, helps them see way down really clear to the water so that they can see the fish that they're going for. All right. And then next we have a bald eagle talon. So talons are these long, pointy, kind of like nails at the end of each of their toes, right? So that helps them for grabbing onto their prey and holding tight to their prey, anything that they're picking up. And it also helps with defense. It helps them defend themselves from anything that might be threatening them or their families. All right, we also have some feathers. So we have 2 different kinds of feathers here. And feathers are a type of adaptation that all birds have. So we have feathers that are kind of more sturdy and really strong like this that help a bird to fly. You can see this one's really good for flight because you can try to pull it apart and all these little pieces really stick together. So it's a really strong feather. And then we also have kind of more flimsy feathers for that birds that don't fly might have. And there are all different types of feathers. For example, we have penguins who have really tiny feathers that they don't fly, but they live in areas that are a little colder. So those little tiny feathers all group together to make a layer of insulation to keep them warm. And then we have lots of birds like peacocks and ostriches that have really colorful feathers that will help them for attracting mates. All right, our next one, we have a porcupine quill. So animals like porcupines have these quills all over the back sides of their body, and this is an adaptation, again, for defense that helps them to protect themselves from predators. So we can see they're kind of pointy, kind of sharp. So when they feel threatened, all they do is turn around, show their spikes, and if something were to get hit with this, they would get pretty hurt. So that is a defense mechanism for our porcupines, and we do have a species of porcupine that live in New Jersey. They're called the North American porcupines, and the southernmost part of their range reaches right into northern New Jersey. So if you live up there, you might have seen them before. All right, so all of the adaptations that we've talked about so far are called physical adaptations. And that means that they are all things that an animal has physically on its body that help it to survive in its environment. But there are also things called behavioral adaptations, and those are things that an animal will do, or a behavior that it does, that will help it to better survive in its environment. So for example, going back to our bald eagle, our bald eagles can fly really fast. So that's a behavior or something that it does that will help it to be a really great hunter to get food in its environment. We also talked about penguins a little bit earlier. And so penguins are a bird that swims instead of flying because in its environment it needs to be able to dive deep into the water to catch fish and other things that it'll be eating in the water, so it has to be a good swimmer. Doesn't really need to fly so much. So now that we know a little bit about what adaptations are, we're going to make some of our own. So what you can do is either draw or create with whatever craft supplies you may have at home your very own animal with all of its own unique adaptations. So I have an example of one that I've made so you guys have a little bit of a better idea. So this is, make sure I'm getting it in there, this is what I called a wordle, and it's kind of a fish turtle mixture. And so he lives in tropical beach habitat and needs places where it's really, really sunny. And the reason he needs this sun is because he's got these dune buggy wheels that I've made for him, and those help him to move really quickly across sandy beaches. But the way that these wheels work are from the solar panel that he has up here on his shell, and that solar panel takes the sun's energy and converts it to electricity to power his wheels whenever he needs to move fast. All right, and then he has these fins and this tail here, and those help him to swim pretty fast through the water so he can catch some of his prey. And then he also has this beak for a mouth, just like all of our other turtles that we know of here. They have a beak for a mouth, right? And this allows him to eat his diet of small fish, insects, and different plants or vegetation, okay? So that was my example of my own animal that I created. You guys feel free to have fun with this. Put your imaginations to work. Be a little creative. Just make sure you give your animal a name. Give it a specific habitat, and give it 5 different adaptations at least that can be physical or behavioral that will help it to survive in the environment that you give it. So I would love to see your creations. Feel free to take a picture of them and you can post them in the comments below so we can see what everybody makes. Thank you guys. Have fun with this.